I love you.
Ladies, gentlemen, and all non-binary individuals out there, we have finally come to the conclusion. 7 books, 7 podcast episodes, 8 movies, 1 spin-off play, 2 spin-off movies, about 25 different games, a porn movie I'm sure is out there.
I'm
Here
sure. I'm sure
The
I might
Deathly...
have peeked at that.
Maybe 1 or 2 of them. Rule 34 did at least. Here we are. We're at the Deathly Hallows, part 1 and 2, because fuck you, Harry Potter. We're not going to do 2 different episodes for this shit.
We thought about it.
we were originally going to do it, but then it's like, we watched 7, and then I was just like, bro, I'm sorry, I accidentally just watched 8. Because it's just... They filmed the movies back to back. You know, they do feel like one movie. It doesn't really feel like 2 separate movies. It's all the same. You know, they got the same cinematographer for both. The music's done by Alexandre Desplat, or Desplat. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a famous... I know he's done Wes Anderson movies like Fantastic Mr. Fox and The Grand Budapest Hotel. He's done music for them. But he won an Oscar, I think, for the music for Shape of Water.
Okay, that was a good one.
Guillermo del Toro Fish Sticks movie. Yeah, his music here is good. It fits the finale really well and gives that grave tone that hangs over both of these films because we're at the end. Voldemort's running free. He's having murder sprees left and right, and shit's gotten dark, guys.
Yeah, it's gotten dark.
I'm the Green Traveler.
And I am the Faceless Leon. And we're just going to jump right in for just a second. This is a podcast about movies and TV. And it's definitely one movie. I mean, it's part 1 and part 2 of one movie. But then that does come into question when we finally do the Kill Bill sequel smash. Is that a sequel smash? Or is it part 1 and part 2?
I mean, I think we should do it as a sequel smash just because I love that movie enough that I would like to talk about it nonstop. So I think, definitely. Especially here, it is definitely a sequel smash because the whole point of a sequel smash is, did it need to happen? You know, I think that's where it all comes from is, did there need to be a sequel? Did it boost the story by having it as 2 parts? Here, I mean, obviously, once you made the decision once whoever did Harry Potter, I can't remember right now if it's Warner Brothers or who. Universal.
Warner Brothers? It's Warner Brothers. It's Warner Brothers.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't
But they
remember.
are, I think, they must be connected or something because they are in the Universal Park. So I don't know.
Right.
But it's definitely Warner Brothers.
Who fucking knows anymore? All these companies doing shit. But yeah, whoever made the decision to split it in half to make 2 separate movies, first off, you're not fooling anybody. It was clearly just for a fucking money grab. Like,
oh, definitely.
They took the longest book in the franchise, number 5, and they just tore it to fucking shreds.
Yeah.
It's just, what can we remove that's not essential?
We don't need these 300 pages. These aren't real story.
And then you get to book 7, which I don't know specific pages, but I would say it's probably around 700. And so they do still 400 for... Right, it is. But I mean, number 5 was like 900. So it was like 200 extra that they shortened down into the second shortest movie. And in here, they're like, we're just going to roughly split this book in half and focus on like half of it here, which is mostly just the Lord of the Rings ripoff because we're just walking through the and then we're going to do part 2 where there's actually a lot of awesome set design and some crazy fucking action and shit.
Yeah, there's some good shit. But you know what though? Okay, so personally, I mean, this is almost closing statements up front. Personally, I would not watch part 1 without watching part 2, but maybe I'd watch part 2 without part 1. But part 1, when I finished watching it, I was like, you know what? For what it is, what it's supposed to be doing, it's surprisingly well done. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's just...
No.
And I think that maybe they should have done something like this with Order of the Phoenix, or at the very least make it another 45 minutes longer so that things made sense.
Right. something at least.
Something. Man, I feel like since we watched that, most of this podcast has been complaining about that movie.
I mean, that's fine. It's wholly deserving of it. I do want to mention, since I talked a little bit about the sets in the first movie, in part one, that is, a lot of the sets are roughly about the same. It's just kind of some kind of forest set. You know, they're always hopping from place to place, so it's like as long as we set up a different looking forest scene, they're fine. So I don't know. I do want to mention, though, the set designer was Stuart Craig, and I believe he was the set designer for all of the Harry Potter films. And so I think it's fitting here in our last episode of the playlist that we recognize Stuart Craig, because he did a fucking phenomenal job throughout this whole franchise. The whole set, the Hogwarts Castle, everything, and like Gringotts Bank, Diagon Alley, like everything this man did. If I'm correct in him being on all of the Harry Potter films, that is, which I'm pretty sure he is.
But the castle is job. Like an actual place, though, right? I'm pretty sure. I have no idea. At least I was pretty certain that they had an actual somebody has that castle or some kind of historical society, and they filmed at least the outdoor shots at the castle. But
maybe. But I mean, even still, even if you're filming on location, you usually build a set around the location itself. And
right.
Yeah, he did an amazing job. Like, I think everything that is great about this movie franchise is the world. I wish they had done so much more in character development and peering into all these other characters, because they have such a huge cast. Like, you have all of the qualities of making a Game of Thrones style TV show out of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because,
though, 11-year-olds having sexy exposition scenes, that's probably not good. That's
now. See, this is why I hate Game of Thrones. The whole franchise, it's nothing but, like, I don't know. I love the books, but like when I watch the show, I just can't get past season 2 still. Like, I've gotten to season 3 probably 3 or 4 times now. I know the first 2 seasons so well that I should really just start at season 3 from now on. But everything in that show just devolves into, how can we relay information to the audience? Oh, I know. Let's have them talk while having sex. And that's like the entirety of the first 2 seasons. Do we need to get important information across?
I'm not gonna say that goes away, because it doesn't. But it does get better. In fact, in the last couple seasons, I don't think there's very many sex scenes at all.
I know of one incestuous sex scene.
Yes, that's true. Anyhow, this not Game of Thrones-esque movie series. Maybe I should synopsize the first movie. I think I can do it. I might fuck up and put some book 8 shit in there. We'll see. I mean, part 8. There wasn't a book 8. Harry, Ron, and Hermione. Well, I guess I'll start over. Last movie, we found out that Voldemort split up his soul into Horcruxes. I made a joke about it being the crux of these films. Not a lie. It's a joke, but it's true. Right. I'll move on.
I laughed the first time, damn it. Do you want me to start laughing?
No, it's not worth it. Anyhow, they're at the Dursleys for some reason. And the Dursleys, they know that they need to get the hell out of Dodge, because I guess Muggles are dying left and right. And once they do, almost immediately, Mad-Eye Moody and the Order show up, that we never really got explained what they do. And they show up and they decide that they're gonna get Harry to... Is it to Hogwarts? Where the fuck are they going? I don't remember.
The Burrow. To the Weasley residence.
That's right. Okay. That's right.
And I do want to say also, I just want to toss in that the Dursleys leaving is like the most like fuck you ever. Like I think Vernon has one line. I think he says like 2 words to Dudley. You don't even really see Petunia. She just kind of like dips into a car real fast. It is like 5 to 10 seconds of screen time for characters that we haven't really gotten to see since like the 4th fucking... No, not even the 4th movie. The 3rd movie, really. And it's just
Oh
like,
man, that's true.
they're such good actors, and they're like, they're so like, there's so much to them. Like in the books, there's this beautiful little scene with Harry and Dudley where they have a moment of just like slight respect for each other. And it's just like, look how nice these two have grown after a while. You know, Dudley's no longer afraid of Harry. He kind of is like more respectful, and you know, you can see that there might be a future relationship when they're adults. You know, a good friendship there. And so it's just the film franchise is just like, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, well, I'll say, fuck those three. I will say they're well acted. I love the actors portraying them. Yeah. But yeah, fuck those characters. Fuck them. They're assholes. Anyhow, the Order shows up and they're gonna take Harry. It's a secret mission, and they all drink Polyjuice Potion. Not all, half of them drink Polyjuice Potion to look like Harry to get him there. And then all hell breaks with Voldemort attacks.
Yeah, it's a diversion tactic with half of the party looking like Harry. They can all fly off in different directions to confuse, just in case somebody found out about the secret mission and came out.
Right.
And you know, it's so funny that they even pretend that there's a possibility that everything will be fine. We'll just take off from his house and we'll all get back to the Burrows.
Right.
The moment they leave, they're under attack, instantaneous.
And you know, one thing that I did want to bring out about that, and I'll get back to my synopsis right after we talk about it, is that Hagrid is like, it's only right if you go with me, and he doesn't talk like this at all. Anyhow, he gets him in his sidecar and he's going with Hagrid, and I'm thinking to myself, everybody fucking knows that Harry and Hagrid are like super tight.
Right.
But I don't fucking get why they thought that was the best idea.
Because if you think about it, Hagrid's not a wizard. So he's not the most likely candidate to be protecting the most precious treasure.
Ah, I see. It's like reverse psychology almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Voldemort doesn't think in relationships. He thinks in power. So when he looked at it, he would assume Mad-Eye Moody or Kingsley Shacklebolt, or, you know, it's like one of the more superior wizards. He would assume he would have a guardian.
Right. Okay. All right. Back to the synopsis. They get back to the Burrow, and they are then going to have, what is it, Harry's birthday party? Is that what the party? No, it's a wedding. They have a wedding for one of the Weasleys, I think.
Yeah, Bill, Domhnall Gleeson.
And Harry has been waiting back this whole time to go hunting for the Horcruxes because he has the mark, which is only introduced to the movie series anyways at this point. Underage wizards are not that anytime they use magic, it's on record. It's like they're like it's almost like a curse.
It was technically introduced in the second movie and the second book. They just didn't call it the mark because of the hover charm spell that's cast by Dobby. And you remember the letter shows up to him, and it's like, you are not allowed to use magic outside of school, as you well know. You know, not until you are 17 years old.
So it's more of an area thing. Like if magic's done around him, because he didn't do that.
Yeah. It's weird because there's like detective magic like that, and then there's obvious the mark itself, which is like on your wand, or I guess, or whatever, that knows if it's been cast. But most kids perform magic before school, before they get their wands, just like, you know, by happenstance, like Harry making the glass disappear in the first movie.
Right.
So it's like there's mostly just detective magics around kids, I would assume. I don't really know the specifics of it.
All right. Well, thank you, Lore Master. So they're waiting for him to have his birthday. They're waiting for him to have his birthday, which, like, I guess is his 18th birthday. I'm not sure. Whatever. 17th birthday, and that's when he is adult wizard man. Then Ron and Hermione, they go after the Horcruxes. Yeah, there's several Horcruxes. I feel like that's really the synopsis of the movie. There's a lot of things that happen, but it happens really slowly.
There's just the hunt for not only the Horcruxes, but also to figure out things that Dumbledore left behind, because they have They have a meeting with the new Minister of Magic because Cornelius Fudge has fucked everything up and nobody wants him as the minister anymore.
No.
So we get Bill Nye, which it's so funny because we do this over Discord, and every time you do the TARDIS sound, it like cuts out on my end, so I just hear like.
Oh, I don't hear. I'm glad that you pull up the screwdriver because I can't hear the screwdriver. It doesn't pick up the screwdriver.
It's that weird suppression, man. I can't wait until we can do this just in person.
We'll have to figure out how that works.
We'll get there. But Bill Nye, lovely Bill Nye, he is the new Minister of Magic, Rufus Scrimgeour, and he is also in my all-time favorite episode of Doctor Who. I don't remember what it's titled, but it's the Van Gogh episode. It's where Matt Smith's doctor goes to visit Van Gogh, and Bill Nye in that episode plays a loving expert on Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, as it is supposed to be pronounced.
Which probably is more accurate, given that
it is.
We're Americans. We're pretty far removed from.
Yeah. He's known quite far outside of America, though, as Van Gogh. We're not the only country that calls him that. But he is in that episode. It's a beautiful episode. If you check out any episode of Doctor Who, you can check out the Van Gogh. It's just so beautiful. And also, I do want to mention, while we're safe here in the Doctor Who corner, on the last episode we talked about Helen McCrory, who played Narcissa. Yeah. Right after we finished recording that, she sadly passed away. So just wanted to mention that. She did a great job. Fantastic actor. And quite a legacy there.
Yes, yes, indeed. And
that's been the Bittersweet Doctor Who corner.
Bittersweet Doctor Who corner. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned because I did want to say something about it and I would have forgotten. So thank you. Thank you for giving us this great role and many, many others. And the world will miss you.
Yeah. But I got to the Doctor Who corner from figuring out what Dumbledore left behind because the new Minister of Magic, Rufus Scrimgeour, presents Dumbledore's will to Harry, Hermione, and Ronnie the Bear. And they're all given a specific item from Dumbledore that's very obviously riddle.
Right.
There's
because nothing can be straightforward with Dumbledore, which is a big theme in this movie.
But here it makes sense because he knew the ministry wanted to weaponize anything they were capable of weaponizing. So they figured whatever tools Dumbledore was leaving behind, they wanted it, not Harry, and he knew Harry was the one who had to get these tools. So making this a riddle made sense. A lot of things they talk about and discuss in this and the next movie, though, that it's like, why were you like this? It's just part of his fucking personality, I guess. That is one of my biggest flaws with this movie, though, is they bring in, and it's a flaw with the book, really, not the movie, but they bring in so much of Dumbledore's past.
Yeah,
it's like,
but
why didn't you explore this?
Yes, they don't explore it well enough. Like, they keep on bringing it up like it's such a big deal that it's being added in and that Harry doesn't know this. But it just, like, they only do it just enough to get you intrigued and to introduce a character later on in the movie. But they don't further on it. They don't really actually make Dumbledore any different because of it. Which, I mean, in the end, Harry still is adamant about trusting Dumbledore, even though he doesn't know anything really about him. So I guess for that reason it kind of works. But you had 2 whole fucking movies, so you could have done something more with this, for sure.
I mean, they could have even just done something more of it throughout the entire franchise, especially with her, with J.K., because I feel like she intended to. But after a while, he did just become that mysterious figure who pops in every now and then to give some good lore and backstory.
Right.
But I mean, she explores them really well in the book. In the 7th book, there's a lot that goes into Dumbledore, and it's really good. But like, I don't know, reading back through them, I would be more intrigued if a lot of this was implied long ago. Like if you would see Dumbledore interacting with other wizards, and you would get hints at his dark backstory. Like, just something to make it, I don't know, more heavier when you get to it, when it's just like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah. And like, I don't know. They could have done his. They weren't ever super explicit about these things that he did, either. Like
Right.
they kind of just show it a little bit and leave a lot to the audience's interpretation, which is fine usually, but like they just didn't give enough, in my opinion, to make it
Right.
feel like it really worked. It doesn't feel like it's separate from the movie because, like I said, I think it's important for Harry's character to kind of question this quest he's going on, that this dead man that it turns out he hardly knew, asked him to go on. But I think also the question of why is he this way, rather, why was he this way, is important for this movie because, and I don't feel like the movies do a well enough job of expressing this either, but Dumbledore is a diviner, right? Like, he has visions of the future. Am I correct in saying that?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because the only time, I think the only time he knew something of the future was when the divination teacher, Professor Trelawney, gave him a prophecy, like read it,
Okay.
Performed the prophecy in front of him. He's just wildly intelligent, I think.
Right.
He's kind of like a chess master, like where he sees all the outcomes ahead of him.
Right. So, like, it just seemed to me, though, when I was watching it this time, that Dumbledore knew that things had to be a particular way for the outcomes to come out correctly. And maybe he had the divination professor help him in that. But I don't think even that part of it is not expressed to its fullest intent for us to be at the end satisfied with that storyline, I feel.
Again, like, I mean, the thing with divination in the Harry Potter world is it's not the way it's presented, especially through Trelawney, is there's no actual divination. There are people who have spurts of ESP or whatever, where they'll have a premonition or that kind of stuff, but like they can't predict the future. So I think all of these weird outcomes, like as you're saying, because they are very far fetched that he would plan it so well, but that's all it was just magnificent planning. I think in the end was that he just knew that this was the outcome that he had to get to, and if he laid the pieces down right, that's the only way it could happen as long as Harry stayed true.
Right. Being the rightful owner of the Elder Wand for so long, maybe that has something to do with his ability to be such a good planner or something. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, he fucked that up. To dip behind a spoiler wall real fast. The plan was Snape to kill him. Right. The plan was Snape to be the owner of the Elder Wand. So when Malfoy stepped in and disarmed him, that threw the whole plan off the rails. Shit. Dumbledore literally, in my opinion, Dumbledore died thinking that it all was failed because of that. Because Draco is now the owner of the wand. But I don't think either of them figured Voldemort would kill Snape until near the very end, which is exactly what. Spoilers there, I guess. But I mean, I just dipped behind a wall, but like that was the whole plan. Like he didn't plan Harry to become the owner at all. I honestly, like, I don't even know to the extent how far into the Deathly Hallows he would have sent Harry in a plan, because that's I might as well just synopsize the second movie real fast because it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I like that, but real quick, is it in the first or the second movie that they explain what the Deathly Hallows are? Or did we do that last time?
It's in the first, but like it's more important in the second. They explain it in the first with Xenophilius Lovegood.
I wanted to mention him because I love him.
Yeah. But the synopsis for the second movie, just because it ties in so well with the Deathly Hallows, is that it's still the hunt for the Horcruxes, but now it's also a side hunt to figure out what the Deathly Hallows are and whether or not they can be used, or if they were intended to be used by Dumbledore to end the battle.
And to make sure that Voldemort doesn't get them, too.
Well, he doesn't even care about the Deathly Hallows. He only cares about the Elder Wand. I don't even think he gives a rat's ass about the cloak or the stone.
You'd think he'd like the Resurrection Stone, especially since his Horcruxes are getting fucked.
Yeah, but he knows he would most likely know the history of the stone, which is you can't bring anybody back from the dead.
Right.
So like, I don't think he's interested in the resurrection stone because he's already lived that life of a spirit. He's already been basically brought back to life without a body, and he just doesn't. He doesn't want that again. He had to live off of unicorn blood. Fuck that. He had to put the back of somebody's fucking head. Like, for him.
Gross times.
Gross.
Yeah. Could you imagine like being served pudding from in the back of your head? Because do you think they shared an esophagus, or did he need sustenance?
I don't think he ate. I don't think he needed sustenance. I don't think he ate. No. I guess maybe the only.
Well, he needed the unicorn blood.
Yeah. Did he drink the blood himself, or was Quirrell drinking the blood?
Yeah.
Because the body was normal. I don't think it was like turned backwards or anything for him to, suck the blood out.
I don't know. That would have been really cool though.
Face down. Oh,
that would have been.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, if when we redo it for the TV series,
yep,
we're gonna make sure that the actor is standing backwards and using the back of their head.
Oh, that'd be so gross. I like it.
Yeah.
Nobody can steal this from us. This is our plan.
Yeah, this.
I think us producing this just makes it immediately like copyright. Don't fact check me on that. Just let it be our copyright. Don't.
Yeah, that's right. Trademarked. I know it's not registered trademark because that implies registration, I guess.
Oral trademark.
Oral trade.
That's really just the synopsis of the second movie. It's just hunting the Horcruxes, finding them actually, destroying them if possible, and then a big, huge, awesome fucking battle that takes up the last hour of the movie. And
that's right.
I say big, huge, awesome, but another big flaw with this movie, we won't mention specifically who, especially not outside of the spoiler wall, but there's a lot of deaths in this. It's a finale of a franchise. It's an action franchise, so there's gonna be a lot of deaths going on, and so there's a lot of people who die in these final two movies, and nearly all of them die off screen.
Yes, in both of the movies.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I think that might have been a rating decision. Like, if we keep on showing these people die, they're gonna want to rate it R. But
then do it.
We need the heroes. We need to see those moments, man. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that more behind the wall too, because it's. I mean,
there's no weight to the moment when you're just walking through a battlefield and you just glance to the left and you're like, oh, there's three main characters. I recognize their faces. They're dead. And it's just like, oh, they died in the fight? Did they die heroically? Did like a building fall on them?
Right? Yeah. What happened? Did they save people while they did it? Like,
yeah, I'm sure there was heroic deaths for all of them, and we just don't get to see it. There is one on-screen death. If you don't want a spoiler, just duck away for 5 seconds while they say the name. Hedwig the Owl dies on screen, and I think that's the only one, other than the big finale, of course. But
right, yeah, that was sad, and right at the beginning of this 2-part movie.
And it's so, even in the books, that moment pissed me off. Where it's just, I literally just flip the page, and it's just like, oh, name of character who died. No, I'm just like, you fucking kidding me? That's it? That's all we get? She didn't know how to write deaths. She's not George R.R. Martin. Like, nobody does a good character.
I think we talked about it enough, because there's so many fucking characters that died like that. So I won't say the one that pissed me off, because there are more that pissed me off just the same. So you're right.
We can definitely talk the big ones behind the spoiler wall, because there's some that as you said, they piss me off so much that like I want to call the filmmaker out for being like, why? This is bullshit.
We were there. Why didn't you just do it?
I mean, let's just, unless you can think of anything else specific, let's just do it. Let's just dip behind the wall.
Well, I don't know if we ever did this before. Like, for some reason if in the Half-Blood Prince we did this, but I know we talked about the Elder Wand and the Resurrection Stone, but the third Deathly Hallows is the Cape of Invisibility that Harry has just so happened had the entire franchise.
Exactly. Yeah. The movie does a really again, another piss poor job at explaining that. But the books do a great job at explaining it.
Okay. I do like that little story moment, though. I like that because the animation was really good for that moment.
Right.
When they talk about it. And I guess that was like it's like a nursery rhyme that wizards tell to their kids, but only a select few wizards really believe that they exist and are something to be either protected or seek out. And
to parallel those wizards, that they're like the people today who believe in aliens. Like, they are the conspiracy theorists that most of society looks upon as nut jobs.
What do you mean that the aliens didn't help build the pyramids, Greg? What do you mean?
I didn't say anything about the pyramids. I said about aliens existing, which I, as a human being, the Green Traveler from Gorsh, as a human being, I know it's not. You know, aliens, we don't exist. They don't exist.
Yeah, I mean, you are human. I am too. Sometimes.
Yes. And you really have a face. I'm looking at it.
I really have a face. It's even got lips. And what's that thing between the eyes? A brow. It's got a brow and
a nose.
A nose. Actually, I don't know what that is, but I have one. And
two of them.
Yeah, we're humans, and I even wear those, those compressed lenses with the frames, and
right.
Those, they go around the dangly bits on the side of the head.
Yeah, they're magnifying glasses.
Magnifiers. Okay, I wear those because I need them. I need correction for my jelly balls. So yeah, let's go behind a wall.
Let's do it, man.
Hello, all you weirdos seeking to escape spoilers. Skip to 59:19.
And let's talk immediately, because we're already on that subject, the deaths. You let slip, I deleted it, but you let slip prior that Mad Eye Moody is the first to die.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, it's like we get there and it's like, yeah, they got Mad Eye. It's like, we were all there. Just show it.
Well, I imagine he took down like 3 or 4 with him. Like, fight
on his awesome, gigantic, thick ass broom. Like,
right? That he was like. I love also that he like waited for everybody else to take off. Like, he was just standing there, like, like the lady at the beginning of a race and Fast and Furious, like with the flag, just like before the race that was Mad Eye Moody when everybody else took off, and then he immediately catches up to them on that giant ass broom. He's just like, boop, I'm right beside you.
Yeah, I can imagine like he was like a super secret cop wizard. I'd imagine that like he's got some kind of hot rodded broom or something,
Right. And then like we don't even see that fight. We only see Hagrid and Harry's involvement, which in itself, in actuality, there's a lot of fun action there. It was a really interesting moments where Harry had to figure out how to fuck to get out of this situation. And there's also a moment where Hagrid gets hit by like one stun spell and goes down.
Right.
And it's incredibly fucking stupid because we've seen this man take a bunch of stun spells already and he's fine. Like in the books, he takes like 20 in one book. Like,
oh really?
Like, dude's a half giant. One stunning spell is not gonna fucking take him down. But I guess that was a really powerful Death Eater because he really just pew. Hagrid's out for the count. Oh, it's so stupid.
He failed his con save. That's what it was.
Yeah, he did. He really did. He rolled a 1. Actually, if he rolled a 1, he would have fallen off the broom.
Right,
But we don't see that battle, and it is so fucking annoying because we get back to the Burrows, and it's just like, hey, George lost an ear. And
for some reason, I thought he died when I watched it the first time. I thought he died, but like when he was laying on the couch there. But there's a scene with him later at the wedding.
Yeah, Fred's the one who died. Also dies off camera.
That's
at the end in the Battle of Hogwarts in the 8th, and it's just there's so much you could have shown us, and it's so annoying. But like another thing that pissed me off is when they get back to the Burrows, when Remus Lupin lands, he's just like immediately pulls out his wand. He doesn't trust who Harry is. And he's like, tell me
Right,
this
right.
memory that only Harry Potter would know. And it's like, all right, first off, we've already learned from the 5th and 6th movie, and this was part of the books too. So again, I'm just attacking J.K. Rowling's dissection of the world. But we learned in like the 5th movie that Voldemort is a master of occlumency. He could look into anybody's fucking mind. He's really fucking
Right.
good at that.
Especially Harry's.
Especially Harry's. So holding out your wand and forcing Harry to repeat a memory that only Harry Potter would know is really stupid when Voldemort has control of most of
Right.
the fucking world, because he probably already knows that memory. Or
Right,
he could
right,
easily
right.
pull it forth if he was around. But what really pisses me off is they didn't do that when they first met Harry at Privet Drive. Why did it matter after
Yeah.
everything went horribly wrong? Shouldn't you have done it before everything went horribly wrong? Shouldn't you ask these security questions before the transaction and not after the transaction? Like, it's so
have
fucking
security questions beforehand, and then different ones afterhand.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, obvious that it was flawed to begin with, because of what you said about Voldy McDoldy.
I mean, again, to be true, the questions he asks are very mundane. I highly doubt Voldemort would have pulled that specific memory forth. But still, it's a question of how powerful and how knowledgeable is this man. Like, it's so mundane. It's so weird. Speaking of Remus Lupin, though, I think that's the one that pisses me off the most, is Remus Lupin's death.
Yeah, because he was, before even Sirius steps in, he's like a father figure to Harry.
And him and Tonks, who I think it might be either this movie or maybe the movie before, but we find out that Lupin and Tonks are a romantic couple.
Yeah, which is really weird to me, because she seems just so much younger than them.
Right.
Which, shit happens, and they're working very closely together, saving the world. So, people fall in love all the time, different shapes and sizes.
And in the book, she has a freaking kid. Like, she's pregnant with his kid, and they have a child. And I can't remember, but I feel like the movie just completely wrote
I
that
do
out.
think they mentioned it, because I think
Okay.
at the end of it, they mentioned something about somebody taking in the kid, but I can't remember who takes in the kid. I don't think they ever showed the kid.
Maybe not. He's like the cool kid in the book, I remember. All of Harry's kids look up to him or something like that. I don't remember it actually. Again, I've only read the finale book like half as much as all the other ones, like because it came out last. I haven't had the opportunity to read it as much because I don't read them out of order.
Right,
but,
sure.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate how Lupin and Tonks died, because it's just that's the moment where Harry's scanning the battle scene and you see Fred Weasley, you see Tonks and Lupin, and it's just like, really? This is all we're gonna give them. We're not gonna see their death. Like, we're not gonna make it more meaningful, more sad, more heart wrenching that this whole war is happening. Nope, fuck it. We're focused too much on the damn hunt for the Horcruxes.
Yeah,
and Ron being a genius, which surprises everybody.
Yeah, what did he do? That was so great. I can't recall.
He just kept coming up with like wise solutions to their problems. Like, how do we defeat the Horcruxes? We've lost the sword. We don't have the sword anymore. And he's like, but I know how to get into the Chamber of Secrets because I've learned Parseltongue from listening to Harry talk. So I can get in there and get a Basilisk Fang, which destroyed a Horcrux back in the second movie. And then Hermione and Harry are like, fucking what, Ron? That's genius, man. Good
He's
job.
like, I pay attention.
He's like, I'm occasionally smart. Fuck you guys.
I didn't think Parseltongue was something you could learn.
I mean, it's just a language.
Sure.
Yeah, when Harry speaks it, he's just speaking Snake. So as long as Ron hangs out with him long enough and sees him open doors saying, open in Snake language, after a while he might be able to interpret those sounds.
In the 7th movie, that scene with Nagini as the old woman, that was a really good scene. So, it's not overtly obvious. Like, they've shown Nagini in shows before, but you just think, oh, it's another Parseltongue speaker. And they start talking this way, and then very slowly Harry figures it out, and then they have that big fight. with the snake, and it's awesome. But like you don't expect it. It's one of the biggest surprises in the movies, really, for me. That was a good scene. That just popped in my head. But one thing I wanted to talk about, because we were so focused on how many off-scene deaths there were and how those people didn't get those heroic moments, I do really enjoy the heroic moments that we got to see. Like, for example, fucking Neville Longbottom being fucking awesome. Like, there's at least 2 or 3. I can't remember if there's a third one, but the scene on the bridge where that was brilliant, where he, it didn't end up affecting the battle too terribly much because there were so many people on Voldemort's side, but he did take out a big chunk at once by blowing up that bridge. It was a very brave thing he did. And then when the sword comes and he's fighting, does he kill Nagini?
He kills Nagini because like there's that stupid slow motion scene where like Ron and Hermione are like running away from the snake and they're at the bottom of the stairs, and the snake is like, slowly like flying at them through the air, and it takes like 45 seconds to a minute to like all of this happening, and like I'm so fucking bored with it. I'm like, this. I really love that final fight. The whole battle for Hogwarts is super intense and awesome.
Right.
But there's so many moments where it's just like they'll do something and I'm like, fucking don't. You don't need this. There's no weight to this situation. Like, what are you doing? And one of those situations is when the snake is flying at them, because it's just like, is the snake gonna do it? Is he gonna kill Ron and Hermione? It's like, no, he's not gonna fucking kill Ron and Hermione. We know it's not. And then here comes Neville Longbottom with a sword, and I'm like, all right, fuck yeah, that was pretty badass, but it'd be more badass if you would do it in real time and Neville had to fucking do something and not just like come flying in like
he cuts the head off, right? And the only thing it's missing is it falling through the portal and Darkseid smashing it. I mean, that's all it's missing.
Well, it burst into ashes like
that's true.
Snap.
Yeah.
They went Marvel and not DC.
That's okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's be honest. If Harry Potter was gonna go to either of the two, I would imagine it would go to Marvel. It's very polished franchise.
Okay, that's. I mean, I mean, DC's got that thing with Warner Brothers, so.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that matches with this and the dark tone.
I
but
see.
it's a competent franchise. That's very well polished, and like they literally, there are some movies where they literally took everything out of the book that didn't need to be. Like 4 or 5, both of those movies, even though 5 is very confusing, they literally took everything that was like scientifically not needed to progress the story. Like, they surgically removed it.
Yeah,
and like there's a polish there. There is a mastery to it. Like,
yeah,
I gotta applaud their ability, even though it's shit. Yeah. I gotta applaud their ability.
Yeah, because like they did that. And like, when we talked about that 5th movie, and oh my god, I'm sorry that this episode ended up being another review of Order of the Phoenix. But when we finished watching that movie, it's like, man, they did that pretty well. And then you're like, what happened? So they cut.
I don't remember it.
they cut all this shit out. Like they get just the bare bones of it. And the problem is that all of a sudden, even though it has all the beats of a story, it has none of the meat and potatoes of a story. You just don't know what the fuck happened.
Right. I remember that Sirius Black drifted away into a cloud.
Yeah.
That's about it. This whole franchise.
Another disappointing death.
Right. At least we got to see that one.
Yeah, that's true.
But what is not a disappointing death, and one topic of the story that we 100% do need to focus on and talk about. There's 2 actually. There's 2 really good deaths. One at the very end of the 7th, and one about 2/3 of the way through the 8th. So let's do the 7th finale first. Harry and the gang find themselves at Malfoy Manor through a long series of shit that we don't need to go into, but they're saved from it by Dobby. Dobby comes and he saves the gang. He teleports them out. He has some great great hilarious one-liner moments, or like there's a moment where everything seems like everything's like come to a very bad conclusion for the good guys, and then there's this like tiny little squeak and we all glance up and Dobby's on the chandelier unscrewing it really slowly.
Yeah.
It's just he gets some great moments, and they're absolutely beautiful.
Which that's
and lovely.
kind of funny because, like, you know, if he can levitate a snake, a cake that is a snake, if he can levitate a cake, why can't he just like fucking make the chandelier fall? I don't fucking understand why he had to be up there.
Because of comedy, Blake, it had to be funny.
You're right.
He had to get the moment of surprise too, or whatever it's called, because
element.
Yeah, element. Thank you. He had to get the element of surprise, the moment of surprise. Yeah, he had to get the element of surprise because otherwise, you know, Hermione wouldn't have had the chance to roll out of the way. But he sadly, in the process of getting them out of there, Bellatrix Lestrange throws a dagger and kills Dobby. And it is the most heart-wrenching thing. It's so sad, and Harry's reaction to it is so very like courageous, and it makes you fall in love with Harry. I mean, you don't really get to see his reaction to it until the 8th movie, but oh wait, no, they do bury him in the 7th, don't they?
They do. He says we're gonna bury him.
Okay, but they bury him,
and then in the 8th movie. In the 8th movie, he comes into the whatever house they're at with Ollivander and the goblin. The goblin's name's not Gringotts. I can't remember. Griphook.
I think.
Grick. I think it might be Grick, but whatever. Anyhow, the goblin's the one who says, "So you buried the elf," and it seemed like he had some kind of respect for Harry for that. He was like, "You're a very unusual wizard, Mr. Potter," and he still fucks him later.
Yeah, of course he does.
But we get to get dragon riding because of it, so
yeah, that's true.
Cool.
But that's J.K. Rowling's odd, I don't know, weird little creature racism, because it's just like all the goblins are greedy. You know, she has that bit of weird race stereotyping throughout her whole world.
Honestly, here recently, I have become made aware that really any interpretation of goblins is rooted in anti-Semitic shit. So not just her, just all the ancient fairy tale shit.
Yeah, but I mean, she has so many of those
hatred
stereotypes, but I mean that's what she does with her characters, her creations. Though she stereotypes all of them like that. Like all house elves are okay with being slaves except for Dobby. You know, and it's just she does this with like all giants are stupid. And you know, I don't know,
it's very generalized.
That. Yeah. And the death of Dobby is super sad, and the reason the goblin is, you know, has that respect for Harry is because most wizards would just use magic to bury. You know, just move the dirt, put it aside, put the body in, put the dirt back on. You know, but he actually took the time to do it by hand, and
even a step away from that, they would just use magic to make the body disappear. Like he wanted to honor Dobby, his friend, and it was a very very nice moment.
Yeah, so that's how the first one ends, and it's super sad. Makes you walk out of the theaters thinking like, that was good. I'm sad now. Let's get to the next one. And the next one, the next big and well established death is the death of one of the greatest characters of all time. Severus Snape. Oh, it's so sad. But at the same time,
so much.
It hurts a lot. It really does. But he got hit by that snake like 10 times. I don't remember how many. I wasn't actually counting.
Like a shit ton.
Dude's not alive.
Each time it thudded, I was like, "Oh God!"
And there was more blood splattered on the window too each time. And when and then they go in once Voldemort leaves, they go in, and I'm like, how is he still alive?
I don't know. Fucking will of a badass,
I guess. But also, why did Dumbledore leave him alive? That's another issue I have is
Voldemort. You mean?
Thank you. Yeah, Voldemort. The only reason he did it was to become Master of the Elder One, because he thought Severus Snape was the Master of the Elder One,
and he didn't quite understand how it worked.
He does. He knows how it works. It's just it wasn't working for him because he learned that he wasn't the true
Right.
master of it.
But he thinks that you have to kill the master of the wand for it to change allegiance. But really, you just have to disarm the person.
But killing it would also do it. It's a
Sure.
surefire way to make sure that the wand does switch its allegiance, because there is that possibility that you can walk up and just take it from somebody's pocket, and the wand's like, "Fuck you, man! You're not this." You know, it won't follow your allegiance.
Crackety crack, man. Fuck you.
But that's my problem. Is he thinks he knows he has to, make the wand believe he is the new master, and so he just slits this guy's neck and then has a snake kill him. Wouldn't that make the snake the master? Because the snake's the one that fucking killed it. Like, how does it make? I don't understand how he thought it made him the master. And since it's so important that he is the master, I don't understand why he didn't just Avada Kedavra his ass and ensure that he was dead.
Well, I think maybe, Voldemort is just so fueled by hatred that maybe he really did always carry a resentment for Snape, but saw him as because of he was also a half-blood as he was. Perhaps he just always saw him as a very useful tool and knew that he could make him loyal to him. And at the end, because he could, he wanted to fuck with him and torture him because Voldy is a sick fuck.
He really is. But yeah, it's a very sad moment. And speaking of Wall, you learn that Snape had love for Lily Potter. She was probably one of his first friends as a child. They went to school together, and he secretly had a crush on her. She was a good friend of his, even if he was in Slytherin, she was in Gryffindor. They were still friends,
right?
And she was one of the few things that kept him human, I guess. And she was the reason he came to Dumbledore's side. He was a Death Eater for a long time. He followed Voldemort. He believed in Voldemort. But when he learned that Voldemort was going to try to kill the Potters, he came to Dumbledore and said, "Please, I will do anything if you can protect her." And he swore his allegiance to good, to Lily Potter, and to making sure her son is taken care of. So a lot of the people out there who talk about Snape being a hero, he is a hero. I do love him. At the same time, I do acknowledge that he is a complete utter shit of a human being who only acted as a good person because of love.
Right.
It doesn't change the fact that he was still mean. It doesn't change the fact that he still harbored hate for Harry, because he certainly did. He still saw James Potter and Harry all the time.
But he still did his best to protect him. And I think some of it, like you said, he did show resentment towards Harry because of James. And he said, and we learned so as much from what he says to Harry. But also, I think it was that he didn't want to get so close to Harry because he also reminded him of Lily. It was just too painful. And then also, in that same moment, you see as Harry is watching his visions through that pool, whatever the fuck it's called. Pensieve. He also sees the memory where Dumbledore says, "It has to be you, Severus. You have to do it." Yeah. And so, for the audience member, the first time you're like, "Oh, fuck, Snape. That's like the hardest fucking thing, man. You had to kill your friend and mentor." It's rough stuff, but it's good. It's really fucking good. It's the best part of the story. And I think I said that last time, that this is the story for me. Really, I wish that we had the story from Snape's perspective. But the reveal of this is so fucking good. And I feel like in a TV show, you can have both perspectives. And you could play with the dramatic irony. Because since that reveal is so cinematically known, I feel like having it the audience already know in a TV show, it could work.
And reminder, my TV show universe is 3 shows, 3 different series.
Right.
And the second one is Voldemort's first war, which we would see Sirius aging with James and all of them in school. That's part of the show's progress. So you could establish Snape's thoughts on Lily also through that second show. Right. So it's, you build up to it when we get there, and it's so bittersweet and lovely. As
For
you said,
sure.
it doesn't have to be it's obviously dramatic irony. It doesn't have to be a twist for the audience because we already fucking know it. Now, I do want to point out that in the 6th movie, they have shown it's possible to alter your memories so that when you watch it,
That's true.
you know, the person's memory is exactly what he wants you to see.
But
now,
this is taken directly from his tier. I feel like
I know.
Yeah. I feel like Slughorn had some forethought and into that.
Yeah, you're definitely right. But I still I love the idea that there is a possibility Snape had just tricked everybody. He knew he was about to die, and he's like, there is one chance I die a fucking hero, and I have been through too much shit not to die a fucking hero. So I'm going the distance and hoping that this fucking kid believes me.
I'm gonna get a kid's middle name named after me. God damn it. What a silly ending.
No, I wholeheartedly believe the memories. I love that conspiracy theory that I think of. That it's just like, this is always possible. There's another conspiracy theory that really pisses me off too. And in the books, so there's that final battle between Harry and Voldemort, right? There's the big what we've been building to all this time is this final confrontation. One must live while the other survives. I said that wrong, but whatever. One of them has to fucking die is the whole point of it.
Yeah.
In the books, everyone thinks Harry's dead when that final battle is going on. They don't know he's jumped out of Hagrid's arms and that he is still alive. Everyone thinks he's dead. They're all fighting to the finish. And it gets down to the Great Hall. Harry's running around in his invisibility cloak, and he's like protecting everybody, like literally just running around like casting the protection spell for everybody and like saving a lot of lives. And then right at this one moment where Voldemort's like about to kill Mrs. Weasley, I think, because she just killed Bellatrix, which happens in the movie too. But right when Voldemort's about to kill her, Harry whips off the cloak, saves her, and everybody's like, fucking Harry's alive. And it's just this huge moment where everybody's just like, we thought this was the final battle, but then like here comes the savior, and we're like, oh fuck. And then they have the huge exposition scene where Harry explains how he is the owner of the Elder Wand, and Voldemort owns nothing, and that he will lose the battle if Voldemort tries to fight. And Voldemort's like, fuck you, I'm gonna fight. And then they have the final, they point their wands at each other, they say their spells, and Harry walks out the victor. And it's a great moment. I love that battle in the books, even if it is very kind of childish at times. Wonderful. In the movies, Harry and Voldemort are just gonna fly around the castle and just do some crazy random shit, and we're gonna prolong this for 30 fucking minutes. And then they're gonna end the whole thing and a fiery CGI laser beam wands connected again. Ooh, isn't this exciting? And then Voldemort gets hit by the spell and like bursts into ashes and flutters away, and nobody's around to know. Now I know the real world. There's conspiracy theories now that Voldemort's alive because nobody saw his fucking body. They just have Harry's word that he fucking killed him, and he's gonna walk back into the Great Hall and be like, I killed him, and everybody's gonna be like, yay, Harry, and then somebody's gonna be like, wait, did you actually kill him? Because there ain't no body out there.
Yeah.
Where's his fucking body, Harry? He's like,
well, I killed all the Horcruxes. Even me.
Yeah, all the movies did is create a giant conspiracy theory that that 19 years later epilogue is filled with a buttload of people who think Voldemort's still alive. You know it.
That's fair. But maybe that, well, I guess there's some baddies that are probably like, oh, he comes back. But man, it seemed like to me that most of the baddies, especially the Malfoys, were like, oh god, why did we want this to happen again?
yeah. They're like, I just want to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, why did we do this?
Well, once his power started flowing away, then they were just like, let's jump ship real fast. This guy's not that powerful anymore.
So, are you ready to take down the wall and do some closing statements?
Hell yeah, my man.
Let's do it. That was the wall.
Here we are. I'll go ahead. I give both of these movies 3 stars.
That's fair.
They are literally just one and the same to me. Like I finished the 7th one, and I was like, I have to watch the 8th one. It didn't feel like an ending. And in that regard, since this is a sequel smash, no, it didn't need to fucking happen. I like that it did. Yeah. I am very grateful that they did not remove and cut away as much as they possibly fucking could, because obviously that makes for a bad movie. Go ahead, trim off about 30 minutes out of each film. I think it's possible.
I do think that it's probably possible.
Yeah, and create one 3.5 hour long or just 3 hour long movie. Just
and people would have went out and saw it in Swades. You know why?
Yeah.
Or is it Spades? Is it Spades or Spades? Either way, they would have went out to go see it because they went to see both of these fucking movies. So, for the franchise, yeah, I think they thought they needed to do it because they wanted more money. They're like, what are we going to do once Harry Potter's over?
Fantastic Beasts. We can make 7 of those.
Yeah, geez, come on. How many beasts do you think there are? We could explore the whole world, the whole wizarding world.
Television just doesn't make the same amount of money they do. Oh, by the way, they have a young Grindelwald, and it's the same. It's the young guy from Sweeney Todd. They brought yet another Sweeney Todd actor into this fucking movie.
They have.
Remember young Grindelwald, the kid who robs from the shop in the flashbacks or whatever that they show.
Oh, for some reason I thought that was Dumbledore. See, it's not clear. That I don't feel like that is clear at all.
They say Grindelwald though.
Oh, maybe okay.
Yeah, when Voldemort goes and kills Grindelwald in the store, they show the flashback then too.
Okay, it probably just went in one ear and out the other. Anyhow, you got more to say closing statement wise, or should I go for it?
I think they're very enjoyable, good action films.
I agree.
But I don't think it
could have
to
been
be split in the.
Yeah,
it could have been one nice long movie. The Battle of Hogwarts is awesome, but all the fucking weight of this movie happens off screen, and I just can't stand it.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and start my closing statement by starting with redacting my closing statement for the Half-Blood Prince, because I said that I wanted to give it a face and a half, but I didn't want to because it required the other films more. But I fucking love that movie. I listened to the edited version after you gave it to me. I was like, what the fuck was I talking about? That is a face and a half movie. That is a good fucking movie. I was confused
too. I was like,
because it's my favorite one. Yeah,
it really is.
It's so good. And these ones are a good follow-up. Like, we talked about the director of the last 4 movies or 5 movies, whatever.
From 5 on.
Yeah,
5,
4.
6, 7, and
4
8.
Movies. And how he really fucked up the 5th one. And then these last 3 ones are super good. They're pretty good fucking movies, really. Mm-hmm. But I would only give each of these movies a face. But I think they do a really good job of giving both of them a beginning, middle, and end, and really good beats to feel like their own movie. But they really could have been one movie, like you said. I 100% agree with you. So yeah, that's my my statement.
I remember when they made the decision that they're going to split it into 2 films, and like I was talking to my friends, and I was just like, obviously it's a fucking cash grab. This bullshit. Like,
right.
Where are they going to cut this film? And it's just like, because there's no real good middle area to cut it. And they found one. They did.
They did it. They did a good job.
But it's just like, if I remember correctly, the moment where they cut is like 500 pages in or whatever. Like it's really close to like the 2/3 mark. And so it's like when they did that, I was like, how are they going to extend all of that into be 2 hours? Well, they did it. They made the fucking battle so fucking long. So that's
so long. But I think it worked. It worked. It just didn't need to happen. Yeah. It definitely they definitely don't outshine those first couple of movies or the Half-Blood Prince by any means. But they're very good movies and a very strong ending to this franchise.
I agree. It's a good ending. And as we've already said, favorite is Half-Blood Prince, I think, for both of us.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously least favorite is Order of the Phoenix.
So yeah, definitely. Goblet of Fire is better than I remembered. That's it. Yep. I hope you enjoyed it.
Really was.
This is our first completed playlist, if we don't count the.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say it's
ones.
not technically completed. I don't think because I someday we will come back and tack on the Fantastic Beasts. I think.
What if they cancel that third movie? If they cancel that third movie, then we'll just do it as a sequel smash.
Yeah, which would be hilarious because they did not end the second movie. So when they do the third one, and again, I think they have 5 of them planned. Which like fucking why? Like she's got to make money now. She's
all right.
richer than the Queen of England, so she's got to figure out how to make more.
I like Eddie Redmayne. You know, I like him more than I used to. But like, we just don't need more Newt Scamander. We just don't. I'm sorry.
I love Eddie Redmayne. Also, I love Jude Law.
Yeah.
I used to like Johnny Depp, but he's kind of a joke now.
Yeah.
Like, it's the whole franchise. Like, I'm sure if I rewatch it, I might find it more enjoyable than I did the first time. But it's like they took everything I hate from Harry Potter, the movie franchise, and just magnified it to every fucking extent possible.
She wrote the screenplays, right?
Right. Which I think is also part of why I can't stand them. She needs to stick with child literature.
Yeah, like, for sure. Young.
I don't know. I tried to read her Robert Galbraith novels, which are her like adult mystery novels, and I just could not stand the main character, whose name is Cormorant Strike. He's a private eye named Cormorant Strike. Like, come the fuck on.
That's
Give
a
him
fucking name.
more. Right.
I mean, your fucking weird ass names make sense in this world, in the wizarding world, but
right. Well, they're funny in a children's series, like it's kind of like, you know, it elicits laughter and youth. But I don't know. I've tried to read. She also had another novel called like the Casual Vacancy that I got like maybe 50 pages in, and I was just like. It came out like right after Harry Potter, and I was like, "Ooh, yay! J.K. Rowling has an adult book, and I'm an adult now. This is gonna be exciting." And I started reading, and I was like, "This is trash." I put it down. I got like 50 pages in. And I was like, "Fuck this."
Shit. Well, is that our show?
That's our show. I'm the Green Traveler from Gorsh,
and I am the faceless Leon. I promise, I do really have a face. Save travels, and I don't. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. If you like the show, please show your support by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Like, follow, subscribe, wherever you might listen. We also now have a Patreon account. If you feel so inclined to support us in a financial manner, please become a patron by visiting patreon.com/greenandfaceless. You can also find more information about us on our Facebook account or on the Fiction Works 19 Instagram account. Thank you so much for listening.